All right, all right, all right. Hello, everybody. Luswell here. We're going to debunk a tutorial today. Let's get started right now. Prerequisites first. So this was posted on Reddit, and I've gotten a bit of hate in the comments, a tiny bit. So I thought, hey, this is called How I Approached Learning DAR. Obviously, a lot more went into my learning than what I was able to share in this short video like this. But these are the basics of how I learned. I'm no pro, but I learned all of this recently and the process is fresh in my mind, so I wanted to share. So prerequisites first. Oh, I got good at flying forwards. You don't need to be good at flying forwards. I think he means without air roll in a neutral position. Salut Dway, ça va? On fait un petit debunking of a tutorial. So that's not a prerequisite. You don't need to know how to fly without air roll in order to learn how to air roll. Backwards. Oh, okay. Then he's gonna say side and side. Is that what he's gonna say? Is he gonna say from one side to the other? Yeah. So this is what many people say, that you need to learn how to fly sideways and in all directions, all angles of the revolution of the car before learning how to air roll. Here's in one sentence why you don't need to do that. When you press air roll, the inputs are not going to answer in the normal fashion, rendering learning how to fly in any direction useless. If you press down with the neutral revolution, you go up. But if you press down while pressing air roll, you don't go up. You go either up left or up right at the beginning of the revolution. So learning how to fly in every direction means it's rendered useless by the use of directional air roll. And on top of that, if you start doing that, what's going to happen is that you're going to want to start to learn every input for each angle of the revolution. If you do that, you're going to be sad, because that means that the number of things you're going to have to consciously learn is going to be exponential. Let's keep going. I practice switching between each position using the dart button. Yeah, but here's the thing. Using directional arrows as a flying technique is not just, you don't press it in between your inputs. You press it while you're making inputs on the joystick. So this is useless. You're basically playing with free air roll right now. So what he's doing is that he's pressing air roll in between inputs on the joystick. That means you're not pressing directional air roll as a flying technique. Right? Wesh frère, oh putain, me dis pas wesh. After a while, I was able to make them quickly. Yeah, but notice, he's still pressing air roll in between inputs. This is not what air roll is. You're not, when you use directional air roll as a flying technique, you don't press air roll in between your inputs. You press air roll while you're making inputs. That's the whole point of it, and that's the whole difficulty of it. Ça va tranquille et toi, on fait un petit debunking là. So, I practice holding. Oh, now he's going to hold it. At first, only using the direction on the left stick. Really? So that means he's going to press upright. So he's going to press with one debunk de quoi dans tutoriel de Errol. He's going to press upright. And he's only going to turn using upright, which means that he's going to use upright and many angles of the revolution. But guess what happens after that? If you do that for one input, you're going to feel like you have to do it for all of the input. So maybe he's going to go down right after, but it's still a bad call to do that. He himself said that he learned it in a long time. And this is why when you do this, it's going to take you a long, long time to learn air roll. So first of all, he didn't discover this by himself. He watched other tutorials in order to understand that upright and downright do what they do. How to fly backwards and sideways in an attempt to learn dart. It did not help me much in the long run. No, it's useless. And then mix of the two. Okay, yeah. But he doesn't say when to do them. So first of all, if you make a tutorial, you need to say when you're making inputs, because directional, I always say this, directional air roll is three things. It's what input you're making, when you're making it in the revolution, and how long you're making it for. He's just saying he's pressing inputs. He's not saying when and how long he's pressing them for. Right? This is my second exercise of the thesis. And I say when to press it and how long to press it for, because there's three phases that one needs to learn and train. See, now he's just randomly pressing upright. Look at that. Watch, you ready? Upright, downright, downright, and watch upright, upright, upright. Those inputs are so small that they don't do much to the car. They're so short. They don't do much. They're almost parasite inputs. Upright again. So, I don't know what this is doing to him, but the reason he's turning is not because of those short bursts of inputs, because they're too short. That's a longer input. That's going to make him turn. Now he's doing tornado spin. Then I learned the right direction. Is right a direction or is it a tornado spin? If so, what does the tornado spin do? The tornado spin doesn't make you turn. It does. The tornado spin does not lock any wheels on the car, like front right, back left, or front left, back right. Hence, when you press it, the nose is going to go to the right and left air roll, and then up, but the car is not going to change vectors, change direction. So the fact that he calls this a direction, I don't like that, but that's just terminology. But you're not going to go far with going right. Yeah. Be careful, because after that we're going to go in the comments and we're going to go to a specific comment where he says how long it took him to do just this. And then the up direction. The up direction is literally the same as upright, except your nose is going to go down a little bit more. So he's learning, and then the down direction. He's learning, supposedly he's learning what every input does, but he's not really learning what every input does, because he's not pressing the input for the same amount of time every time, right? In order to see what the inputs do, you should go on the flat ground and press the input shortly and see what the first movement of the car is, and then hold it a bit longer to see what it does, and then hold it for a whole revolution to see what it does. And then you want to do that on each and every input on the joystick for a neutral revolution. But he's not even talking about a neutral revolution. This is the same thing as empiricism. He's trying to make a conscious effort of being empirical, but this is the same thing as empiricism, basically. Because now he's going to have to learn every input for every angle of the revolution of the car. And he's not talking about it, though. So in a tutorial, if you don't say those things, only a fool would say that it's a good tutorial. Because there is so little knowledge right there. There's so little analysis that someone who doesn't know anything about air roll is going to say, oh my God, that was so simple. Of course it's simple, because nothing is being told. I have hundreds of hours practicing air roll and I still don't master backwards flights. These two things are not even close in my mind. Because you don't need it, though. So what's the next step? Practiced for hours with the entire right side of my stick. Yeah, but when? When do you press the input? See, now he's pressing down right when the car is 50%. So if he holds that input right there, he's going to go to the left, right? Same thing here. If he holds that input right there, if he holds it now, he's going to go straight. because he's 25% in the revolution. But if you do what he does, it's going to take you a long time to understand air roll and to be good at it. And on top of that, you're going to try to make every input a conscious one instead of just focusing on the neutral revolution and making it subconscious. Because this is not really good flying right there. It's not really good. Oh, hold on. Watch the joystick. You ready? Oh, you see that? Reverse clock. Reverse clock. Reverse clock. And all of these inputs he's making right now are, most of them are parasite inputs. He's not holding them enough. So what is he saying? Let's see what he's saying. So my point is, for someone who doesn't know how to air roll, this seems like a good tutorial. But it only seems like a good tutorial because he's never talking about any of the difficult things that he's doing, which is when he's pressing the input and how long he's pressing it for. People who don't know anything about air roll are going to think this is good because he's not even talking about when he's making the inputs in the revolution. Il part trop loin et du coup passe son temps à micro-ajuster. Oui, il fait plein d'inputs parasites là. C'est presque des boucles de ressenti ce qu'il fait tellement c'est rapide. Hein. As I got better, I learned to connect each of the directions that I learned with rolling movements. Oh, so now he's talking about reverse clocks. Okay. As I got better. So to him, this is better, by the way. Just so you understand. This probably took him 200 hours. With the method, you should be around 35 hours to have that level. And to him, this is better. Better than what? Being a total noob, I think. It's unfortunate to make a tutorial like that because people are going to think that it's so simple to do that. But then when they try it for themselves, they're going to realize, well, I'm just doing one input right now for each angle of the revolution, and it's taking me about fucking 20 hours to do that one input. And now you have to add another input, which is another 20 hours, and then they have to add another input, which is another 20 hours. For a while, I thought this was all I would need. Yeah, because when you first start understanding what people say on the internet, you think that air roll is about micro adjustments. It's rarely not rarely, but it's not just micro adjustments. It's reverse clocks. Et que je tentais de faire cette map en laissant le air roll enfoncé. Ouais, non, mais c'est normal. Notice that. What is that? Right there, little reverse clock. It turns out learning the left side of the stick is important too. Well, it is, even though you're going to mostly use it less. It depends on what you're doing, really. Yeah, see, that's exactly what the up left does. What's this? Up left right now. His nose is going to go down, and if he keeps it enough, he's going to go right. So his nose goes down. He doesn't keep it enough. Oh, yeah, he does, and the nose goes to the right. So that was a whole revolution input. That's a good example. It's a whole revolution input, up left. So because it's up, it's going to go right. But because it's up left, it's going to go down. So it's going to go down and right. Which is what happens. Watch this. At neutral revolution, right now, he's doing it right now. It's going to go down and then right. There we go. Nose is going right. And because he's keeping it for a whole revolution, it's going to come back to the initial point that it was. Right there. Les trucs qui m'a fait vite stop, c'est de la torture. Bien sûr. Bien sûr. C'est stupide. In everything that you do in life, there's a method. The whole point of a method is so that you don't end up doing something like this. I understand what he wanted to do. I'm saying it's a bad thing to show people, to tell them that this is the right thing to do. And still, he gets good comments on his video saying that this is what you should be doing. But the only people who give comments are people who don't know anything about air roll and just hate on me for no reason. To be bluntly honest. So he doesn't say anything. Notice that he doesn't say anything in it. This is a tutorial. He doesn't say anything. He just says what he's done. But he doesn't say anything. He doesn't say what the input does. He's never said this input makes me go this direction when I'm doing it at that time. He's just telling us what he's doing, but he's not telling us what the thing that he's doing does. Right? Now he's doing reverse tornado spins, which is going to make him do nothing. And he's pressing it many times in the revolution. I highly doubt that he understands anything that's happening in his car. This was taken after a few hundreds of hours of him training. So what he did is that he learned it in a terrible way, and he failed miserably countless times. With empiricism, after 200 hours, the guy probably had learned a little bit, but he specifically filmed that video after having learned, and while forcing himself to do things. And now the down left direction. So down left in neutral will make you go down and to the left. But I just want people to realize that these kinds of tutorials are not realistic tutorials. This is not, first of all, he doesn't say anything about what he's doing. He says, I'm doing this and I'm training this, but he doesn't help us understand what the thing that he's doing does. That's the least you can do when you do an analysis or a tutorial. When I press this input, this is what's going to happen. See, I've done it for him. I'm the one who tells you that when he presses at neutral, he presses up left, the nose is going to go down and then to the right. He's not even taking the responsibility of showing you, which I think is bad. Pressing that input for no reason in a very slight movement is not going to make you do anything. He does so. Sometimes he presses the input for a short amount of time. Sometimes he holds it for a whole revolution. He never tells you why. He never tells you when he's doing it, and he never tells you what it does. He just randomly presses an input. And you have to understand something. When you press an input for a very short amount of time, if it's a very short amount of time, it's going to make no difference on the car. So, of course, I could be spamming an input. And if I spam it quickly, you're going to think, oh, he's training that input. But in reality, he's not doing anything because that input is not doing anything to the car. It would be a feedback loop, basically. And also, he's pressing inputs in between the revolution, and he's trying to learn them all consciously. Now I have decent control with the left side of the stick. He's making it sound very simple because he's not. So here's the thing that annoys me here, right? The people in the comment section all thank him, but that's because they don't know anything about air roll. The reason it seems so simple, and the reason the video is only 5 minutes long and it seems so simple, is because he's not saying anything, while still being able to do it himself because he's put 200 hours in. That's what annoys me. So people think, oh, it's so simple. It's not so simple. You didn't see him when he actually trained to do that. If you had seen him, you would not want to follow his advice. It's like me telling you that my method is great and you should follow my method by doing and showing you on the screen a double reset musty double tap. That proves, the fact that I'm doing a double reset musty double tap proves nothing to the fact that my method is good or not good. It's easy. Oh, I'm really good at what I do. Just watch what I do and think that because I'm managing and succeeding in what I'm doing, it means that my way of doing things is good. No. Anyone using empiricism can be good. I've always said that. But empiricism is not a learning tool or a training tool. It's a subconscious training tool. But it's not something that happens thanks to yourself. It's something that happens thanks to time and to your brain. That doesn't mean it's the right method. Non, mais c'est ridicule. Now he's pressing up, left for no reason. Nobody knows why. The only reason... Why do you think this is 5 minutes long? Because he crashed after. I'm still much better with the right side of the stick. Why do you think... So, why don't you try explaining people why you're better with the right side of the stick and left air roll? I have an answer. Does anybody know? Can anybody in the chat right now tell me why he feels like he's much better with the right side of his stick? Can anybody tell me why? Prinny, tell me why. Zippo, tell me why. Why do you guys think that he feels much better with the right side of the joystick? It's extremely simple if you have a little bit of theoretical knowledge. But he never explains it. Can anybody answer me that? Or do I have to answer it? Why does he think he feels better? Alors, there's something to do with tornado, yeah. Because his nose will go upward rather than down, which helps him not crash. Exactly. The right side of the joystick in left air roll is the side of the joystick that's responsible for the tornado spin. I'm excluded. Well, you don't know how to play your air roll. But the right side of the joystick is the tornado spin side of the joystick. So when you're flying, the point is not to crash. The tornado spin side of the joystick is going to tend to put your nose up first, which means that you feel more comfortable because you're not scared of crashing. But he does not intellectualize that, and he doesn't tell people that, which I think is bad. So this is not a tutorial. This is more like a training process. But he's saying nothing. He's literally giving us zero information about what happens and how it works. He's telling us what he's doing, whether it's good or bad. If you don't know anything about air roll, you're not going to be able to judge if it's good or bad. I can because I know. But for someone who wants to learn air roll, when he sees that video, if he doesn't use critical thinking, he's going to think, oh my God, what a great video. It's awesome. That's everything I needed. But in reality, he's saying nothing. You're receiving nothing from him, no information whatsoever. And so when you try it out for yourself, you're going to realize that you're not going through the rings like he's going. Because what you're going to do is that you're going to have to learn every single input for every single angle of the revolution of the car. Now, let me show you something while we do that. Okay? While we do that, let me show you something. I've made a document called why it's crazy to think of DAR as small adjustments and learn every input for every angle of the revolution. This represents the number of inputs and patterns one needs to learn relative to how many angles of the revolution of the car one believes there are. This guy says that there's basically up, down, left, and right. There's 4 angles of the revolution. So if we have 4 inputs on the joystick, up, down, left, right, and 4 angles of the revolution, we'll have to learn 16 short inputs. That's what he's showing us right now. But then you add reverse clocks. And reverse clocks give you 48 reverse clocks to learn for all angles of the revolution. Now you do 14 plus 16, it's 64 inputs. So this guy, what he's not telling you, what I'm telling you that he's not telling you, but what you will need to do if you follow this method, this tutorial, is that you will have to learn by heart 64 inputs and patterns consciously. 64. Bear in mind, with my method, I'm asking you to learn 16. That's the maximum. It's a bit less than 16, right? This guy's asking you, without telling you, he's asking you to learn 64 things by heart. Do you think this is a good way to approach directional air roll? I don't think so. I don't think so. So now, yeah, you're more comfortable with the right side of the joystick because it puts your nose up because you're using the tornado spin side of the joystick, which means that it's going to feel more comfortable to go in the air rather than crashing down. This is not good air roll, by the way, just so you understand. This is not good. This is Medium. It's mediocre good. Now I have pretty good control using the entire stick. No, you don't, because you've thought of your stick as single inputs only and not patterns of continuous input movements. Continuous joystick movements. So again, this guy is conveying the misconception that air roll is about micro adjustments, when in reality, many things you're going to do in air roll is not micro adjustments, it's continuous inputs, reverse clocks. Il a dit ça au moins il crache dans le ring. Ben oui, mais bon. Parce que là, you have to keep in mind, right now, this guy is try-harding not to crash right now. Just so you understand. This is not good air roll. This is not good car control. Just so you understand. I'm not shitting on him personally. I'm just saying, objectively speaking, this is not really good. So if you think this is good, it's because you know nothing of air roll. You should look at people who are much better and realize that this is not really good. Hence, you shouldn't follow the advice. Watch the joystick. What was that? That was a complete clock, so fast that it was probably a double or triple clock. I'm not even sure. Now I want to hear people talk about my clocks. When he says that, the people who shit on me in the comments, the guy literally does a feedback loop without knowing that that's what he's doing. Where are the people criticizing my feedback loops? I've seen bits of your replays of people on your Discord that do so much better and so much faster. Yes. Even there's a guy in the comments. We're going to look at the comments after, right? But just bear in mind, there's a guy in the comments that shits on me personally and my video while also saying that he learned it with me in 35 hours. Still manages to shit on me. This is why you should never go on Reddit to ask for help. Because that's the kind of bad content and misinformation. It's not even misinformation because he's not even saying anything. He's not even explaining anything, is he? This is another way of doing it, you know, the famous content creators tutorials that basically tell you to just figure it out for yourself. He's basically, because he's not telling us anything about what's happening, he's basically telling you to do what he does and figure it out for yourself. Can we agree on that? Notice the rolling counterclockwise movements. Yeah, so that's what I call reverse clocks. But maybe you should say something about them. Oh, what is that? Doon, doon, doon. Who wants to buzz the buzzer? Oh, that's a reverse clock. That's a reverse clock. Again, notice the rolling counterclockwise movements. How about you try to explain us what happens, how you're doing it and what happens? Because again, I could speak a lot about reverse clocks because there's a lot to talk about. If you just say in a video, oh, notice the counterclockwise movements, you're not saying anything except for us to notice that you made a movement, but you're not teaching us anything, are you? Oh, I'm doing a great recipe. Notice how I do the recipe. How about you tell us, notice how I cut this cucumber in very, very, very thin pieces, round, circular, thin pieces, you know, about 0.5 centimeter wide. You know, just try to say anything. He's not saying anything, and people are idolizing him for it. He's not saying anything. Do you guys realize he's not saying anything except notice what I do? He's not explaining anything he's doing. I could spend time going on his joystick, but many things that he's doing is parasite movements, basically what I call feedback loops, right? But I'm not going to do that because he's pressing it at different times in the revolution. So I can say, well, now he's pressing it in the middle of the revolution, which makes the input totally opposite from what he's doing. And so I would repeat myself over and over. And most of all, this is not an air roll analysis. This is a debunking of a tutorial. And as tutorials go, he's not saying anything. I also practice going in and out of DAR at each position. Yeah, so this is not the use of directional. The point of directional air roll is that you never let go of it. If you let go of air roll, generally is to be sure that you're making the correct touch on the hitbox of the car with the ball. This is why some people let go of air roll when they're touching the ball, because they can be sure that they're touching it with the right part of the hitbox so that they have the best touch possible. But letting go of air roll for no reason is useless. And of course, if you let go of air roll, you're going to think, oh, thank God I learned how to fly backwards and sideways. Yeah, but you're not learning how to air roll then. If you let go of air roll, you're not training your air roll. So letting go of air roll is completely out of the subject. It's completely out of the question of learning and training how to air roll. Oui, il essaie très fort de pas foirer. So, how does this help you? How does letting go of air roll help you learn how to air roll? It doesn't. I don't understand the logic behind that. This drill helped me get good at switching between DAR and no DAR. So, can we not call it a drill? Can we stop using words that are not words? The gainer method is not a method. This is not a drill. It's something you do. It's not a drill. Doing reverse clocks for 3 levels while using different speed, that's a drill. But letting go of air roll is not a drill. And first of all, like just to finish it up, this sentence is something that you can figure out for yourself. You don't need to tell me that this drill help. How does this? Why do I need this sentence? Can I not figure out that if you let go of air roll is going to help you switch between air roll and non-air roll? Do you need to say it? So he says nothing constructive in the video, and then he says very self-explanatory things. This teaching video isn't teaching much. It's literally teaching nothing. This guy gets free analysis from you. Well, I'm not analyzing his joystick, but I'm analyzing his teaching skills mostly. There's no teaching involved in this video at all whatsoever. He's literally telling people, do what I do what I say, but figure it out for yourself. This whole video could be reduced to do what I say and figure it out for yourself. That's why I don't like tutorials. And that's why I criticize so many tutorials all the time. Many fall into the trap of always holding DAR. Well, if you want to learn how to use directional air roll, the whole point is that you use it all the time. Letting go of air roll because you're not willing to face the difficulty of a turn is not going to teach you anything because you're letting go of air roll. It's by confronting yourself with the difficulty of a turn that you can learn more inputs within the revolution. So I already don't like where he's going when he says many fall in the trap of always holding DAR. How about I say that you fall in the trap of listening to what people say online that you shouldn't always use directional air roll. We're learning how to use directional air roll, and you're telling me not to use it all the time. How can you call yourself a master of something if you don't use it while you're facing difficulty? I don't understand this logic. This has helped me avoid that. Yeah, all you've avoided is to train inputs that made you feel uncomfortable. Oui, bien sûr. Il crache s'il maintient. That's basically it. That's how I learned to DAR. So let's summarize. Press inputs. So no. Fly neutral, non-air roll. Then fly backwards and sideways. Then press every input of the joystick for each angle of the revolution of the car. Right? Then do counterclockwise movements, but you have to figure them out. Then don't air roll all the time. Sometimes let go of air roll. That's his tutorial. I've summarized it perfectly. That's his tutorial. Did you learn anything about air roll? No. Anything whatsoever? No. Did you learn things that you could have figured out by your own? No, because by your own you could have figured out to press every input for every angle of the revolution of the car. That's literally what empiricism does, to teach you that, exactly. Okay, so we're going to finish the video, then we're going to go to the comment section, and I want to show people why going on Reddit and asking random people who just lack authority and wish they had some is a bad thing to do when you're trying to learn anything in life. Avant tous. It's a grind, but totally worth it. Thank you for the explanation. I'm not shitting on him personally, but what I'm saying, just because you know how to do something doesn't mean you're a good teacher. Just because you have the ability to record yourself and make a tutorial doesn't mean that you should, because what you're doing is that you're misleading people into thinking that your explanation is a good one when it's clearly not. And just because some people compliment you over that video doesn't mean that the compliment is legitimate and you should take it. Okay? Because now I can fly. Well, good for you, but this is still mediocre. And as he says, it took, he doesn't say how many hours. I'm just speculating that this took him about 200 hours. But he himself says that it took him a long time to know how to do this. Imagine taking a long time to learn how to do this, have this level of error, which is not really good. Okay? This man is a perfect example for your case that not everybody should do videos. Yes. I don't mean to trash talk him personally. I'm not saying he's a bad person or anything. I'm just saying we live in a time where everyone thinks that they deserve to be heard. And unfortunately, that is not the case. I'm sure people have lots of talents, but teaching is reserved for the people who have the talent of teaching. Okay? Teaching is three things. It's a great sense of analysis, empathy, and good elocution. Three things that make you a good teacher: great sense of analysis, empathy, and good elocution, making your words come out easily and your ideas come out easily. Did he answer to any of those 3 points here? He answered to none of those 3 points. There was literally zero analysis whatsoever of what was happening in his car when he was making inputs and when he was making them. There's no empathy because there's no endeavor to teach anything in this video. And there's no elocution because he literally said nothing. But be careful, because we're going to go to the comments now. And I want people to realize why asking questions about my work, for instance, on Reddit is a bad call. Because you will be facing people who are as donkeys as the ones we're going to face right now. And the whole point of training air-roll is that, see, why didn't he do air-roll here? How about you do this in air-roll while going supersonic? How about you try to do that? And so that's the kind of people that criticize me. Well, not him, but the comments is the kind of people that criticize me. Now let's look at the comments, and now we're going to be able to cry. Great approach. You learn DAR exactly how everyone should. Given everything I've said and the fact that this video teaches absolutely nothing, how can someone say that? Great approach. There's no approach whatsoever except learning fucking 64 inputs and patterns. I've made the math. I know what I'm talking about. He tells you to learn every joystick input for every angle of the revolution of the car. If he's just talking about single inputs, that means that there's 16 inputs to learn. If you add reverse clocks and different rhythms of reverse clocks, that means 64. Okay? How can you say great approach? You learn DAR exactly how everyone should. No, you learn DAR exactly the way everyone has been learning DAR, ever. 60 likes, 60 upvotes on this. Yo, this is legit helpful. How? Explain to me how this is helpful. You know what I like when people compliment my video? I don't take compliments well. I like it when they explain why they compliment me and what they thought was good in the video. Saying this is legit helpful just proves to the whole world, Dev J-Mills, that you don't know how to air-roll and you don't have any knowledge on it, which is fine, but don't think that this is helpful. Use critical thinking. Reading the comments here, makes me realize how little critical thinking people have in our day and age. Grand Chairman cannot do this. This video was super motivating. If you think this level of air roll is motivating, you clearly have not seen a lot of people use air roll and do rings maps. This is not motivating. This is a 3 week into my method kind of video. 3 weeks. Half an hour a day. And I achieve this level in 3 weeks by only using 2 inputs at neutral revolutions, by the way. Not doing all that nonsense crap. Six years of searching for this step-by-step process. Thank you. How is it step-by-step? I mean, I understand why you would think it's step-by-step, but this is not really the right steps to take. If you take those steps, you're going to go to hell. This is smooth. No, it's not. This is not smooth at all. I'm not going to say mediocre because I don't want to sound mean towards the person in the video, but objectively speaking, it's not very smooth. It's not very good. That was not good air roll. This is a sick tutorial and well explained. Saddam on console. This is a sick tutorial and well explained. You do realize again that the guy has given zero explanation in the video. Zero. Like this is a 5-minute video. Not one single moment, not one single second was given to explaining things. So I don't know how this is well explained. One of the best tutorials out there. It's not a tutorial. It's a training process that explains nothing. Oh, there we go. Listen to this guy. Losfeld worshippers will tell you this is wrong and to go watch a 3-hour bloated video instead. Lol. This is a great explanation. Tectonics, if you're listening to this video, you are a donkey. Right? But I will laugh because I got insulted by a donkey. I will not cry over it. Okay? Listen to this guy after that. Oh, the humanity, yeah. Well, Losfeld's method is objectively a very good way of learning DAR, learning flying with a car in all 4 orientations first 2, though. No, it's not. Losfeld's problem is his horrible skills in writing, directing, video production. I have made one of the best introduction of a video ever. And this guy says writing, directing, video production. My thesis is 27 pages long, and it's an actual thesis in the sense that it's organized in a methodological way. Mostly because he's so full of himself. His streams are unbearable too. This is the hate that I get from Reddit. And then he says, after shitting on my work and my personality, he says, but I learned DAR from his method fast, like 35 hours of practice, and I used it in game. Do you see the irony of the people that you're facing in Reddit? How can you say that my video is bad in writing, directing, and video production? It is a fucking thesis. I could literally apply for a doctorate with that shit. I would not get it because it's not serious. But it's well organized. Everything I say in the method comes from the former point. So writing, no, it's not bad in writing. Directing, we are both actors, directors, and editors. It's not badly directing. It's not badly directed. Video production, it's not bad video production. There's literally After Effects in the introduction, just the introduction, okay? And then he's like, but I learned it with his method. So this guy, I'm not asking him to, I don't even want him to thank me, but just so you know, these people, if you have a tiny amount of fame, thanks to anything, that's the kind of people that's the kind of far left extreme idiots that live in the world today, where if you're poor and you become rich because you worked hard, he will still shit on you because now you're rich, instead of saying, hey, it's awesome what you did. You came from nothing and now you're rich as fuck. I'm so happy for you. This guy will just shit on you because now you're rich. Yeah, they have a lot of ego. This is, how can you say that the only time where he doesn't use his ego is when he admits that learning with my method was the fastest thing he could have done. But like the beginning of his message is just insulting me for who I am and what I've done. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. This guy learned the same way the OP did. And he would recommend the OP for the only reason my video is so fucking long. I could make a 5-minute video saying nothing. Would you be happy if I did that? My video is long is because I did not just talk about air roll, first of all, but because I explain things. When you explain something that's complicated, it takes time to be clear. All right? So the last comment I want you to see is when the guy says that it took him a long time. Unfortunately, there's no secret sauce to learning to fly backwards or sideways besides time spent doing it. Wrong and not wrong, you could still give pointers. And then he gives us shit advice on how to do it. I needed a more structured approach. It is a structured approach, but it's not a good tutorial because you're saying nothing. Okay, I know this is a dumb question. It's probably incredibly high, but how many hours did you dump into getting this good at DAR? So people actually think this is good directional air roll, first of all. And then he said, I couldn't tell you the total amount of hours spent, but it's a lot. Haha. I'm saying, in order to do what he did, at least more than 100 hours. Basically the same amount of hours that people take when they just learn by themselves, which means that his method is as good as someone learning empirically, so it's not a method. To give you some kind of idea, I started about 5 months ago and practiced at least a little about 4 or 5 days a week. For me, the key has been staying consistent with practice over a long period of time, even if it's just a few minutes a day. 5 months to do that. 5 months. 5 months to do that. Look at this. It took him 5 months to learn how to do that, right? This is 5 months of practice. I'm not here to say to sell my method. My method sells itself. But this is what you can do in 2 to 3 weeks of my method. 5 months to do that. Are you serious? This is a really grave issue. 5 months to do that. Jesus Christ, brother. Wow. So yeah. So how about we stop calling those things method? Like the gainer method is not a method. He explains nothing in the video. People have to figure it out. The gainer method is not a method. It's a drill. It's about using reverse clocks and long inputs. That's it. So how about we stop calling non-drills drills and non-methods methods, okay? This is why you should not go on Reddit. If I could not convince you of why this video is shit, the only explanation I have is because you're blind or deaf. Maybe you're stupid, but I hope you're not. But look at the comments then. This is really grave. Great approach. You'll learn DAR exactly how everyone should. And this guy's saying all the Lostfeld worshippers. People don't worship me. They just think I did a good job, which I did. And yes, they will tell you this is wrong. And yes, they will tell you to go watch a 3-hour bloated video. Yes. Because my video is... I cannot even compare my video to this. How do you compare something to nothing? You know what I mean, Luna? It's just annoying. And people then tell me that I'm full of myself. Dude, you're facing me with shit. You want me to compare myself to shit? I'm not going to do that. You know what I mean? When people say I'm full of myself, I'm not full of myself. I'm confident and proud of the work that I've did and the knowledge that I've been able to acquire thanks to hard work. If this makes me full of myself, then sue me. But you cannot just throw out insults like he's so full of himself because you have no argument. I just gave you a great explanation of why this video gives zero explanation. Mais bien sûr, c'est de la merde la méthode Losfeld. Bon, après, j'ai appris en 30 heures grâce à ça. Mais c'est un truc de dingue, gros. C'est un truc de dingue, Zippo. C'est un truc de fou. Que Razmeltor me laisse l'enseigner. Anyway, this is going to be the end of the video. I hope you found it, if not entertaining, at least eye-opening, because people need still to open their eyes. Please, I beg of you, on my mother's life, please start using your critical thinking skills. Go read books because you need critical thinking. If you don't understand how this video is bad and should not even be flagged as a tutorial and should not get the comments that it gets like great approach, you need critical thinking in your life. And if you don't have critical thinking, you will always be a donkey. Okay, well, thank you for watching. I hope you had a good time. I will see you later. Losfeld out. Goodbye in 3, 2, 1. Goodbye.